So what if the entire future of North American infrastructure was locked away inside one single massive deposit on Canada's east coast? Well, today, we're going to dive into a project with exactly that kind of potential, the Glencoe Limestone and Cement Project. And look, this isn't just about digging a big quarry. It's about a truly strategic asset that could completely reshape supply chains for decades.
Let's just start with a number that's pretty hard to wrap your head around. Over 600 million. We're talking metric tons of high-purity limestone, the fundamental building block of cement, all just sitting there in one location. I mean, that is a foundation for generations of growth, all in one place.
Okay, so how do we get from a giant rock deposit to a cornerstone of industry? Here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the world-class resource itself. Then we'll zoom in on what makes the deposit so unique and uncover its, frankly, game-changing logistical advantage. After that, we'll look at the vision for a modern green cement plant, see the huge market just waiting for it, and then lay out the very clear path to making it all happen.
All right, first up, a world-class resource. And when we say that, we're not just talking about a lot of rock. We are talking about a verified, high-quality asset that could really become a cornerstone for infrastructure all across the continent. Now, before we get to the really big numbers, you need to know about this thing called NI 43-101. Just think of it as a super rigorous professional audit for any geological project in Canada. What it means is that the figures you're about to see, they aren't just guesses. They're based on transparent, verifiable science. For anyone looking to invest in a project like this, that standard provides a massive level of confidence and security. It de-risks the whole thing.
And here's that hard data, right from the geological report. You can see an inferred resource of over 680 million tons. But honestly, the real headline here is the calcium oxide percentage. At nearly 50%, that is the gold standard for high-purity limestone. It's the absolute essential ingredient for making the strongest, highest quality cement. So we know their resource is absolutely massive. But what makes this specific deposit in Glencoe so special? Well, it all comes down to this powerful combination of quality, scale, and some truly unparalleled access. Okay, so let's get our bearings. We're on the beautiful island of Cape Breton in Nova Scotia, Canada. These maps here, they pinpoint the exact property and the exploration license. You can just see it's this vast, consolidated area that is just primed and ready for development.
Let's really break down the features that make this deposit such a standout. First, the scale is just immense. It stretches over 7 kilometers long. Second, the chemistry is perfect, with low alkalis, which is a critical must-have specification for the huge U.S. East Coast market. And we know this because it's been extensively drilled for decades. And finally, a huge plus. Its remote location, miles from any residential areas, which really simplifies the path to getting all the necessary permits.
Having a world-class resource is one thing, but getting it to market efficiently, that's the whole ballgame. And that brings us to the Strait of Canso advantage, which is truly the logistical heart of this entire project. This right here, this is the project's superpower. The deposit is just 45 kilometers, that's about 30 miles, from a deep water port that stays ice-free and operates all year round. And this isn't just any port. It's what's known as a superport, which means it's capable of handling some of the world's largest ships. And there it is. Look, this isn't some future plan on a drawing board. This is existing heavy-duty infrastructure ready to go right now. The Strait of Canso is what they call a brownfield site, meaning it's an established industrial hub, already zoned and permitted for exactly this type of major project. The foundation for global export is literally already there. So let's put that logistical advantage into perspective. From Glencoe, it's a mere 550 nautical miles to Boston. Now compare that to the current reality, where the U.S. East Coast is importing cement from places like Turkey, North Africa, and Greece. The Glencoe Project offers a dramatically shorter, more reliable, and politically stable supply chain right in North America's backyard. It's a no-brainer. But wait, the vision here is so much bigger than just quarrying stone and shipping it out. And that brings us to the vision for green cement. This is all about transforming that raw material into a high-value, finished product with a modern plant designed to produce 2 million tons of cement every single year. The whole process is just so elegant and integrated. You mine the high-grade limestone, you move it a short distance to a new, highly efficient plant, and you produce 2 million tons of low-carbon cement each year. The plan also includes using the latest carbon capture technology, with the finished cement then exported directly from that deepwater port. It's a closed loop. So why build the plant right there at the port? Well, it just makes perfect sense. You have direct access to natural gas and the power grid. Exporting is as simple as loading it right onto the vessel. It even creates the ability to load any captured CO2 onto ships for sequestration. Plus, the permitting process in Nova Scotia is expected to be much more streamlined than in the US.
So you've got the resource, you've got the logistics, you've got a modern plan. But is there a customer? Well, that brings us to our next section, and the answer is a resounding yes. We are talking about meeting a massive, and I mean massive, market need.
This map tells such a powerful story. Just look at the US Northeast. It's one of the largest cement consumption hubs in the entire world, and you'll see this glaring lack of local production facilities. That empty space on the map, that's the supply gap that Glencoe is perfectly positioned to fill.
And this chart just puts that gap into numbers. Demand is way up here, local production is way down here. And the result is a huge reliance on imports. We're talking around 6.5 million tons in 2024 alone, just for the East Coast. That is the market opportunity just waiting to be captured.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. An independent analysis from the industry experts at Klein Consulting confirms this entire strategy. They conclude that Glencoe would be the closest plant with a deep water access to the New England market, a market they expect is going to keep growing for more than a decade.
So how does this all transform from a great idea into a reality on the ground? Let's get into our final section, the path to production. Because this isn't just a dream, it is a de-risked and actionable plan. This timeline lays out the deliberate, step-by-step plan. The goal is to get the quarry permitting and approvals done in 2027, followed by the plant's final engineering in 2028. That all paves the way for a final investment decision in 2029, with the target of seeing the first cement production happen between 2031 and 2032.
And that whole journey starts right now. This initial strategic investment of $3 million Canadian dollars isn't for some vague purpose. It is precisely targeted. As you can see, it funds all the critical early work: environmental permitting, getting the quarry prepped, infrastructure upgrades, and community engagement. It's basically everything needed to move this project from a proven resource to a fully permitted, shovel-ready asset.
So at the end of the day, we're left with one really powerful question. When you combine a truly world-class resource, an absolutely unbeatable logistical advantage, and a massive waiting market need, is the Glencoe Project the strategic key to securing and rebuilding North America's infrastructure for the next generation?